Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 81 of Screw the Commute podcast. We got a great guy on today. His name is Manny Nowak, and he's got a cool methodology to get you successful results really fast. So we'll hear about him in a minute. I hope you didn't miss episode 80 with Jan McGinnis. She quit her stuffy corporate world because she wanted to be funny, and boy, did it pay off. She's a stand-up comedian, keynote speaker, done thousands of presentations. You'll want to hear from her on episode 80. Now, our podcast app is in the iTunes store. You can get it, and it'll do all kinds of stuff on your mobile devices, downloading the app. And we even have instructions on our website to all the cool features so that you can save your favorite episodes and all kinds of stuff like that. So make sure you get that. It'll make it a lot easier to take us with you. All right, our sponsor this week is the Internet Marketing Retreat and Joint Venture Program, where myself and my staff work with you for a year to either get you started in an internet business or to use the internet to take your existing business to the next level. And I'll tell you more about that later, but the details are at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And of course, I'll be in the show notes at screwthecommute.com/81, screwthecommute.com/81 for this episode with Manny Nowak. So Coach Manny is a professional speaker, author, and consultant to business owners and entrepreneurs. He uses his methodology, 90 Days to Your Success, to help organizations build effective sales and marketing processes that take their sales to levels they've always dreamed about. And it helps them to create extraordinary results. Manny, are you ready to screw?
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, man. So, hey, I've known you for a long, long time. I don't know how long you think it's been.
I bet it's been. I was thinking about that the other day. It's got to be at least 15 years.
15 years, right? So never heard a bad word about you. And if you've heard a bad word about me, just keep your mouth shut about it. So tell everybody what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm helping companies to really increase their sales. I call it to an extraordinary level. And a lot of times, that's dumping people, processes, and junk that just gets in the way of selling. I've seen so many bad salesmen, so many bad salespeople, sales processes. I just simply use common sense to help them to automate their process and produce business.
Well, you should have plenty of business out there, because I haven't seen common sense around for years. Tell you the truth.
Right.
And what they say, it's not so common anymore.
It's not.
So did you ever have a job?
I did.
What'd you do?
I worked for Boeing. That was the last job I had.
You were a rocket scientist.
I was. Actually, I was a computer guy.
Yeah.
So, but I did have a job, and it was a good job.
But you're not in it anymore. So I mean, is that the only one you had, or
no?
Take us way back.
I had quite a few jobs, and actually, when I was at Boeing, I was a fast track executive. I was doing tremendously well, and people wondered, why are you leaving when I left? But I just needed some control over my income and my time.
Wow, I'll tell you what, that's something that I've always. I used to speak at corporate over 20 years ago, but I just couldn't stand it, because it seemed to me like everybody was just a little cog in this giant wheel. And I guess there was some, in those days, security in having the job. But nowadays, nobody's getting gold watches anymore. So they're not staying forever. So how did you transition out of that job? Did you have money saved up, or did you already have a business plan, or how did that work?
Well, I had done some business things before that, but I had about 10 grand in an account. And, one day I just had enough. I had enough good connections in the business. I made a phone call or two, got some work, and just left. I had three kids, a stay-at-home mom. It didn't really matter. I knew I had enough confidence that it would work, and I set out on that path,
Now,
and I never looked back.
did you discuss it with your wife, or did you surprise her with it?
Now, my wife's my partner.
Oh, she's in the business?
No, she has been off and on. I always wanted to hire her as a salesperson, but it's tough working with your spouse.
Yeah.
But,
But I mean, at the time, was everybody like scared to death of what the future held, or was it no problem? Let's just do it.
no, I can tell you that, Tom, that the thing that has helped me to be an entrepreneur is my wife just says, "You think you can do it? I'm behind you."
Oh wow, is that really great? How long you been married?
Over 40 years.
Wow, wow, 40 years now. Now, how long had you been married when you made this transition out of the job?
Um, about 10 years.
And the kids were young
Yeah.
at that. Yeah, wow. So, what was it like in those early days? I mean, are you doing the same thing you're doing now, or was it different then?
Now I was doing we were doing software development for Fortune 500 companies.
Oh, so you didn't go directly to what you're doing now. You went to software, a different
Yeah.
type of business altogether.
Yeah, we actually had a software and consulting firm for years before I got into the coaching side.
Ah, okay. So now tell me how that changed, because that's a whole different business right there.
Well, it changed because I had a partner, and my partner was better at building software than I was. And so one day I said, you know what, Rich, you take over doing all the software. I'm going to start doing all the selling. And so from that point on, I started selling. And then I just started working with other companies as well, because what we found was we'd walk into companies to build sales systems, and we find they had such a terrible team in there with a bad attitude and those type of things.
Hmm.
So we found a niche.
Now, is that person still in your company, or did that company dissolve and evolve into something else? What?
Yeah, that it kind of dissolved. We did a lot of great stuff in the '90s when the PCs were first coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd walk into big companies and we'd be able to do software development for about a tenth of the cost of their IT department,
Right, right.
because we could do it, with Fox Pro and some other tools. And so it was very successful. But and then my partner went on, and we did a couple other things together. And he's semi-retired now, and I'm still going because I'm still loving it.
Yeah, there you go. Now, have you ever gotten screwed over in business?
Yep, got screwed over a number.
And what'd you do about it?
uh, I'm trying to think of which
Yeah, which one?
which one is the craziest. I think it's just, sometimes you help people and you do everything for them, and then they just turn around and use that in the corporate environment to just not do a good thing.
Oh man, so they take credit for stuff that you did or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the corporate. That's one of the reasons I'm not.
Right.
And today I'm unemployable anyway.
Me too.
But I can tell you a story about a young lady I was working with. This is one of those, once in a lifetime $1 billion projects. She was way ahead of the market in this whole bullying concept,
Ah, right.
and she had a tremendous product. And so I worked with her. We got all the pieces together, the right people. We even got her money and financing. We got the right people into the process, and it just, it was great. When you're putting that right deal together, it's so much fun.
Now this was a company you were consulting with or coaching her or what?
I was coaching her. She was the CEO.
I see.
One day we walked in and she said, I've decided I'm not doing this. I don't want to give up any of my company.
Oh man. So all that work, did you get paid for what you did?
Nah, she didn't have any money. We were bringing it all together.
Oh, geez.
And, it never took off and, she never did anything with it. And it's just like, well, you know what we did? We pick up the pieces and we keep on going because there's always another deal out there.
Yeah, there always is. Now, do you change the way you write your agreements now because of that?
Yeah. That and a few other cases.
Right. Because you can't do all this work and then somebody just flakes on you and says, yeah, it's not interesting anymore. I'm going to do something else. And you did all this work already.
Yeah, we get paid up front for most of our stuff today.
Yeah. There's a lot of flacos out there, and folks listening to this, don't be one of those flacos because the word spreads fast, and then nobody will do any business with you. So, what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's the worst part?
Okay, so the thing I love the best about working for myself is the freedom, and it's really the reason that I do all this for myself today. Is I remember working in environments where I was always fast and I was always really good at what I did. And so I can do in, 2 or 3 hours what takes a lot of people a lot longer to do. And so as an entrepreneur, I get paid for what I do. In a corporate environment, I can always remember still you can't leave till 5 o'clock.
Right.
So the freedom is most important for me. I coached all my kids through sports. I spent a lot of time with my family. I work awful hard, but I'm a morning guy. And by about this time of the day, mid-afternoon, I'm done. And I've put in, more than a full day's work.
Yeah,
so,
more than most people in corporate environments do in all week. Probably.
Exactly. I do miss some of the camaraderie.
And the cutthroat and the backstabbing.
I love your story about the water cooler. I haven't got one yet.
Oh, right. Get a water cooler and just stand there and gossip to yourself if you miss the corporate environment. Or just sit at a table for 2 weeks, pretend you're in a meeting, just deciding if you can go to the bathroom or not. That's all. So, but what's the worst part?
I don't know if there is a worst part. I often wonder if there really is one. Sometimes I think there is, but you can't leave it. I can't leave it. My business is always on my mind, even working, and I don't have a right-hand lady right now, but a young lady who worked with me for over 10 years in my business. She'd never bother me on vacation. She'd always leave it alone for me. But, as well as I do, when you're away, I want to see how this is going.
Right.
Yeah, that's going. But I love what I do, so I don't know if it really bothers me.
Yeah, well, that's good. So what do you have for the folks? Do you have anything they can take advantage of, buy off you, or sign up for?
Okay, so we are getting ready to release the 90 Days to Success process. And so we're going to give your audience a shot at a couple of free lessons in the package.
Tell us about this 90-day course.
Okay, so what this is I found that, looking at things over a long period of time is tough for most people, but when you can break it down into 90 days and you can work 90 days at a time with goals, tasks, and processes, you can get so much more done. And in fact, we've proven that we can, in the first 3 quarters of a year, you can get the whole year's worth of work done, and the last quarter is all profit.
Nice. So that's the gist of this course, breaking things down into smaller chunks and making fast progress.
Yeah, it's working 90 days. Like, just let me take a look at 90 days. What am I going to do in the next 90 days and get her done? And then rethink again after that for the next 90 days. So what we've got for your audience is we'll show you how that process works in two. We've got a 2-lesson package, which has some video in there and some training material, and we'll make that available for free.
All right. Well, where do they go to find that?
We will put a link up for you, and it will be at coachmanny.com/Tom.
Okay. So coachmanny.com/Tom. And we'll also have that in the show notes. This is episode 81. So you always put screwthecommute.com/ and then the show number, which is 81. And we'll have that for you. All right, well, we got to take a brief break. And then when we come back, we're going to ask Manny, what's a typical day look like for him and how he stays motivated. So, folks, I turned the internet marketing training world on its head around the year 2000. Or I like to say the turn of the century. That sounds better. That makes me sound much older. But people like me were charging 50 to 100 grand up front to teach what we knew to basically clueless business people who refused to learn all this internet marketing stuff. And I'm a small business advocate, and I knew many small businesses could never afford that kind of upfront money. So I made all the gurus mad by charging a relatively small entry fee to my program, but I also got a percentage of profits that was capped, so you're not stuck with me forever. So for me to get my big money, you have to make way bigger money. So, and I'm not going to disappear on you because I want my big money, right? So seems like Manny was talking about earlier, just common sense, but it's not so common anymore. But they hated that because they wanted all this big money up front, and then there was no incentive to keep helping you. So I turned that upside down. And then I went one step further, and this has never been done before. I have a big estate home and a TV studio where my students, as part of their year-long training, come and they actually stay in my house for an immersion weekend. And that's just one of the unique features of the program. And you also get a scholarship to my internet marketing school. And so it's very comprehensive and very, very powerful program that no one on this earth has ever duplicated. So anyway, you can check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and I'll have it also in the show notes. All right, let's get back to Manny Nowak. He dumped his executive fast-track job with a big company and went out on his own, I think, from my math is right, over 30 years ago. And so, Manny, what's a typical day look like for you now, and how do you stay motivated?
Okay. I'm a morning person, so
like what time in the morning? What's that mean?
5 o'clock.
5 a.m. Wow. Okay.
So I'm up. I do some exercises as soon as my eyes pop open. I do some reading and devotionals. I have breakfast. I walk every morning. That's when I listen to all the podcasts. I come back, I write for an hour, and then I'll start working on some projects.
What do you write? What kind of stuff do you write?
I'm writing some more books right now. I've got 7 books out on various things. They're related to sales.
They all over at MannyNowak.com?
Some of them are. They're all out on Amazon.
Okay, great.
Under Manny Nowak.
Nowak. I'm sorry. I always call it Nowak. Sorry.
It's okay. Either way. So I spend that time writing, or I might be writing some articles or whatever, work on the projects, take a break for lunch. And, if I've got some major stuff to do, or I've got some interviews to do or things in the afternoon. Otherwise, I might spend the rest of the day just reading and writing, research a little bit, learning, or maybe just relaxing a little bit.
And you're not coaching. Your kids are all grown up now, right? So you're not coaching T-ball anymore, right?
No, I gave that up. Although they did try to get me in there to coach my grandchildren. I said, "No, that's
that's the parents' job, right?"
Yeah, I'll do the motivational stuff because I still like to do the pump up stuff, but not the coaching.
Well, I do get a kick out of seeing those T-ball kids. They didn't even have T-ball when I was a kid, but these kids are standing out there picking their nose and all kinds of stuff.
It's a blast to watch them,
So
keeping my motivation is, I believe it's all about attitude anyway. And when I let mine go the wrong way, I do get in trouble, like we all do. Sometimes we just get in trouble, but I love what I do. So I wake up every day, and one of the things that in my keynote I say is, and I always get the audience to stand up and say, I am amazing.
All right.
And I kid them and I say, that's how I get out of bed every morning. I jump up and just say, I'm amazing.
That's great. So I guess that would be a parting thought. We for our we call them screwballs, the people who listen to this show. And so stop your car right now, pull over the side of the road, and just jump out and yell, I'm amazing, and see how it goes.
There you go.
Or if you're at Starbucks, or if you're at dinner somewhere, you definitely, people would say, yeah, that person is extraordinary. For sure.
You got to do something different.
That's for sure.
You taught, I love your stuff and your comedy stuff. I've been studying for years, so I learned to do things different.
Yeah, that's for sure. So if somebody, now you're doing speaking, so how do they hire you to speak?
You can do it all at coachmanny.com.
Coachmanny.com. So that's different than MannyNowak.com, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so
actually, they both go to the same place.
Oh, okay, great. So they can find you there if you want to hire Manny to speak. So thanks, Manny, for taking the time today to give us some tips and inspiration on blowing those corporate jobs. And what's interesting to me is you were on the upswing. It wasn't one of those deals where, they're going to merge and my job's going to be gone anyway. You were on a fast track for bigger things and still left. So that, to me, that takes a lot of guts, because, that paycheck can be so alluring, mesmerizing to people, so that they don't do this. So thanks, Wayne, for coming around. Make sure you check the show notes. Get the 90-day, what's it called again? The 90-day what?
90 days to your success.
Okay, and you're going to get a sampling of that over there at the, just check the show notes. We'll have the exact link to it. So, again, thanks for listening. Check us out on iTunes. Please leave a review and a star rating. It helps out the show. And the next episode will be one of our Monday training. So we do in-depth trainings on Mondays, and then interviews with great guests like Manny on Wednesdays and Fridays. And on this coming Monday, it'll be YouTube secrets. So I might bring in a guy that's worked for me for 10 years, has written 3 books on YouTube. Maybe I'll interview him, even though he's in-house here. But there's all kinds of little details on YouTube that you really need to know about, rather than just throwing up a video. Or throwing up on a video probably get more views than most of us. So anyway, we'll see you, Manny, and we'll see everybody else on the next episode.